When I was about 12 years old, my dad pops his head into the stall door, one of the many stalls that we had to clean. He said, "Hey, can you give me a hand with something?" Now, this usually meant one or two things. It meant either I had to hold something ridiculously heavy over my head while he nailed it into place, or there was some really small, tight, dark spot that he could not get into that required my small hands or small person in order to help. So we walk out of the barn and into the pasture, and we just bought a new grain silo. It's about 20 feet tall. And I noticed that he was putting the funnels, or the panels at the bottom, which funnels the feed into the box that you get the grain out of. But he'd only gotten so far before he realized that there needed to be somebody on the inside holding the nuts while he screwed the bolts from the outside. And it just so happened there was a little tiny hole at the top of the grain silo. And guess who was going to have to go through that hole? That was me. So as we get closer, I see that he has taken a ladder and he's placed it inside the silo. There's a rope tied to the top. And he says to me, "Well, first of all, we have to do a dry run to make sure that we can get you out." He did not want me to tell this story, by the way, I'm pretty sure. So I climb into the silo and I began to climb the ladder, fighting a little bit of claustrophobia, a little bit of fear of heights, and I get to the top rung, and I see him peering down at me through the little hole at the top, encouraging me to come on up, but the ladder didn't go all the way to the top. And I said, "Well, now what?" A little irritably, because I'm scared and I just want to be out of there. And he says, "Well, you got to stand on the top rung, hold on to the rope, and I'm just going to reach down and grab you by your overalls and set you on top of the silo." "Oh," I say. So I climb up, I grab the rope, he reaches down, pulls me out, sits me on top of the silo, and he is so tickled because he now knows that we can pull this off. So back down I go, into the silo, get the last bolt into place, and it's a little darker, a little cramped, but it's okay because I know I can do it this time. Up I go, top rung, hold the rope, he reaches down, grabs me, sits me on top of the grain silo. It's a beautiful spring morning at this point, and we took a minute to look around at all of the things that we had built together with our hands, all ideas that were abstract. They were born at our kitchen table with pen and paper and made concrete through the work of our hands. So from these experiences, it prepares you for the awkward teen years when all your body parts are different sizes and you would rather swoon over the smell of tractor exhaust than a boy's cologne. And when your favorite horse kicks you in the face, you march proudly into school bearing a hoof print and a broken nose because you have earned it, halter breaking your favorite foal. During this time, it was also me becoming more concrete, very abstract. From what I'd initially thought of myself, I realized that I was brave and that I was capable. And so even to this day, I still like to challenge myself in cruel and unusual ways, like trying to do a TED Talk 9 months pregnant. The idea of taking an abstract concept and making it concrete is what initially attracted me to the Montessori method. It is a philosophy devoted to showing children how things work through actual work, where the end product is they have a physical thing that they can sit back and admire. I've been teaching 9 to 12-year-olds for over 13 years now, showing them that the work with their hands is the most important thing that they will ever do, and that it will condense them into more solid, concrete, grounded people. One of the challenging things as a teacher has been teaching the concept of sustainability, because how do you balance the environment with your social and community obligations, with the need to be able to make money from whatever it is that you're doing, because that is also an important part of sustainability. And ideally, I wanted to teach children how to farm because it's a natural example of sustainability. So what we ended up doing was, after about a year of planning, we decided that we were going to start a micro farm on our little 4/10 of an acre campus at our little school. And with some careful planning, a few fundraisers, and lots of help from local businesses and volunteers, and most importantly, my students, we started a year-long farm project called Farm Camp. Now, the goals are very simple. We are teaching children how to grow and work with the environment. And we are also teaching them how to connect to their immediate community by preparing and sharing a group snack from the garden. And we connect to our greater community by volunteering to do a little bit of farm work in exchange for a farm tour, and we donate to local hunger coalitions. And we also participate in the local economy by having a few accounts with local restaurants and businesses, and we also go to the farmers market on the weekends. Now, little farm's not much. We have a little greenhouse, and we have some raised beds, and we have a no-till production garden, and we have some fruiting trees and shrubs, mushroom logs, and my favorite thing, their newest acquisition, are honeybees. I'm still looking for a grant for a grain silo, by the way, so if anybody knows of anything, please email me. Would love to have one. So this sounds like a lot of work, right? It's a arduous process, and do kids really get into this idea? Well, let me tell you about one of our campers, and she's also a student. Her name is Aria. Aria, when she first came to us, is a self-described stick in the mud. One of her favorite places to be is in her bed. Aria as a student is brilliant, and she is a very fast worker. The problem with Aria is she can never be accused of enjoying the journey of any process whatsoever. So the challenge was to get her to slow down and enjoy the getting there as opposed to just getting there. And when we started the farm, it was a great opportunity to introduce that to her and also get her out of the classroom. She's very social. So she became one of my top farm hands, whether she really wanted to or not. And what we started noticing was Aria began to become more patient, and she began to become a little more social, and she wanted to do a little more of the work. And one of the greatest things about it too is that she became a part of the process. It slowed her down because her hands could not work faster than her brain. She became a creator and a builder and a fixer and a part of something that she could not control or manipulate, and she was constantly engrossed in the process. So now we have a kid that loves to go to the farmer's market. She loves to eat snacks from the garden, and she really enjoys the work overall. And in the end, what has happened is it has changed her own abstract perception of herself, which is pretty good from the self-described stick in the mud that she thought that she was. So what we see with Aria is what we're trying to give back to the rest of our kids and our campers, is that we give them respect for their skills and their capabilities, which in turn fuels their independence. We are giving them purpose. We're giving them work that they can see the actual value of. And we are giving them practical life skills. So it includes a very holistic perspective. But for me, the most important thing is they're able to change these ideas that they have about themselves into something more concrete, that yes, they can do it. Even though it might be hard, they can do it. So what I would like everyone to go home and think about today is not only what and how future generations are learning, but how are we setting that example? How are we still taking the abstract ideas of ourselves and making them concrete? Because what is more inspiring than seeing an idea come to life, not only for yourself to admire, but other people? And so for me, that way is to teach kids farming, because as Masanobu Fukuoka says, the ultimate goal of farming is not the growing of crops, but the cultivation and perfection of human beings. And I could not agree more.